Shankar Narayanan, Managing Director and Co-Head of Carlyle Asia Growth Partners. They are one of the biggest PE investors in India. Now, Shankar, good morning and thank you for joining us. How are top FIs and PE money managers looking at India post the passage of the GST bill?
I certainly think passing the GST is a great measure for the country because I think it removes a lot of friction from the economy. It increases productivity, and in many ways, there was a lot of friction because of different taxation systems in states. I remember one of the very first private equity deals I did in my life was, and I was involved in the running of Johnson Tiles, and Mahi used to be one of the biggest sellers of tiles because Kerala had a high sales tax rate. So people would just buy tiles in Mahi, which had a low sales tax rate, and just bring it across. So I think a lot of these aberrations would go away. I think it will have a good impact even on direct tax collections because a lot of things would come into the recorded economy. Because if you look if you take 1947, I think India was on a similar footing to post-war Japan or Korea or Hong Kong or Singapore or most of Western Europe. And as a country, I think we should reflect on what are the things we did wrong and what should we do right so that our country can get more affluent. I think GST would contribute to GDP growth. I think it will improve both direct and indirect tax collections. I think in a country like that, India, I think increase in tax collections with growth of GDP would help bring a lot of people out of poverty. I think this government has the right approach of looking at things from a template of whether something is in national interest or not. And I think this would tremendously help the local economy. And for private equity firms like ours, we feel India has a great future ahead of us. It's an open society, a democratic society, where the foundation for a strong, robust economy has been laid. And as more and more people get affluent, have greater disposable incomes, etc., you'll see a lot of businesses take root and grow in India, whether it's in healthcare and pharmaceuticals, consumer and retail, media and entertainment, also a lot of export service businesses like specialty engineering, IT and IT-enabled services, etc. And Carlyle as a firm with its network of relationships, investee companies, knowledge, etc., we can act as a catalyst in transforming a lot of these businesses and helping them grow. And we are very excited to be investing in India. We continue to invest in India, and we are seeing a very, very robust pipeline of deals out of India.
Okay, so in an environment of low global growth, near zero interest rates and unprecedented liquidity, equity markets will continue to rise. But is all of this masking some shocks that may come later on? Do you foresee or fear that?
See, a lot of people forget that Paul Volcker raised U.S. overnight interest rates to as high as 20 or 21% in the 80s, and that is what eventually wrung inflation completely out of the U.S. system and laid the foundation for the growth that you saw in the Reagan and the Clinton years. So I think inflation is an unfair tax on the poor because even the poorest of poor people pay a disproportionate amount of their net income if there is inflation in the economy. I think Governor Rajan understood this very well. I think he did a good thing by not cutting interest rates in India too fast because it is very important to get growth without inflation. And in a country like India, elections are won and lost probably more on inflation issues than GDP growth issues. So I think it is very important that inflation is tamped down. At the same time, the challenge, I think primarily the OECD countries, Japan, US, European Union, etc., are facing is they have a problem of loss of jobs, they have a problem of economic growth coming in, and they have an issue of deflation. So which probably is what has caused people to take extreme measures like getting interest rates literally to zero and in certain cases even negative rates. has happened, plus liquidity. I don't think it'll have a big issue in terms of India. I think we should first manage our economy in a way that we get inflation out, we get 8% growth. 8% growth with low inflation is terrific. If you can achieve it for 10, 15, 20 years, India would pretty much become a developed country.
Right. Shankar, the primary market activity has been remarkable this year so far. You know, many small niche companies have been hitting D Street and getting overwhelming subscriptions as well. Aren't people overpaying for so many of them in this exuberant undertone? What is your thought?
See, I started my career as a trader, so you may be wise, but the market is right, is what people say. So markets tend to have their own rationality or irrationality. As private equity investors, we really don't spend too much time on worrying about markets. We look at individual companies, the drive, the hunger, the resourcefulness, the ingenuity, and the integrity of entrepreneurs and management teams. That is of far greater importance to us. If you overpay for an asset, it's very hard to make money in our business. So we tend to be a little conservative on it. But most entrepreneurs recognize the fact that firms like Carlyle can add tremendous value, and getting a partner like Carlyle will significantly enhance the residual value of their stakes, whether they did an IPO listing or a strategic sale at some point in time. So we tend to be granular in terms of focusing on individual companies. Markets have their own swings. They go up, they go down, etc., which may not have a lot of direct relevance to what we do. For us, the nature, the quality of individual businesses, individual companies is very, very important. And I think India has the right framework, the right foundation for sustained, prolonged economic growth. And we feel buying businesses in India at this point of time can be very good for our investors.
Shankar, one struggle with bottom-up approach to investing could really be to come up with quality ideas which are available cheap, because typically the kind of businesses which have potential to grow either have been discovered or PE players are already there. If Carlyle has not negotiated with them, maybe some other PE investors have negotiated with them. So how does one invest in this kind of an environment where good companies are limited? There is a lot of liquidity which is chasing them. Some of those companies have been discovered, and the ones which are not discovered are not open to a stake sale.
No, see, our premise is very simple. We like investing in, like I said, we like investing in businesses that have a track record of profitability, that are growing at 20, 25, 30%, whatever, annually, with a fairly high degree of certainty. These are businesses where we feel Carlyle, with its network of relationships, investee companies, knowledge, can add significant value. And as long as you have not overpaid for that asset, if the businesses grow by 25, 30%, your IRR would mirror that exactly. We still see a strong pipeline of companies in a lot of businesses, whether it is healthcare, pharmaceutical, consumer, retail, technology-enabled services, etc., who see the value of partnering someone like Carlyle and growing their businesses and taking it to the next level.
Because scanning across sectors is what you do on a routine basis. So to your mind, what is looking hot and attractive right now?
Yeah, see, the businesses we like, as I had said earlier, are businesses that are led by management teams and entrepreneurs of drive, hunger, ingenuity, and integrity. And the kind of sectors we like are consumer and retail, media and entertainment, technology and technology-enabled services, certain kind of niche manufacturing activities, niche chemical businesses. These are some of the sectors we would have continual interest in.